Ezekiel, Yehezkel, 26. Coming on the heels of 25, because that's how Numbers work, talking about the judgments that will befall Moab and Ammon, the children of Lot, because they raised their voice in approval and they clapped their hands in applause of the Babylonian destruction of Jerusalem, where in Ezekiel 24 the Father preserved a remnant. Now, coming in Ezekiel 2:6, and it came to be in the 11th year, in the first of the new moon, that the word of Yahweh came to me, Ezekiel, saying, Son of man, because Sor has spoken against Jerusalem. Sor, Tyre, or Tyrus, Phoenician city on the Mediterranean coast. Because Sor has spoken against Jerusalem. Aha! She, the gateway of the peoples, and has broken. She has been turned over to me. Let me be filled. She has been ruined. Therefore thus said the Master Yahweh, See, I am against you, O Sor, and shall cause many nations to come up against you, and the seas cause its wave to come up. And they shall destroy the walls of Sor, and they shall break down her towers, and I shall scrape her dust from her, and I shall make her like a shining rock. Again, shining rock being an example here, not in the good way. We discussed that in Ezekiel 24. You are a shining city on a hill. What's one of the 7 S's of camouflage? So that your enemy doesn't see you? Shine. She shall be a place for spreading nets in the midst of the sea, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yahweh. And she shall become a plunder for the nations, while her daughter villages, which are in the fields, are killed by the sword. And they shall know that I am Yahweh. For thus said the Master Yahweh, See, I am bringing Sor from the north. See, I am bringing against Sor from the north Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, a king of kings, with horses and with chariots and with horsemen, even an assembly and many people. With a sword he shall kill your daughters in the field, and he shall heap up a siege mound against you, and shall build a wall against you, and shall raise a large shield against you. King of kings, where have we heard that before? See, and that harkens to Revelation 19, this imagery of Yeshua on the white horse, King of kings, sovereign of sovereigns, Lord of lords, master of masters. When Yeshua returns, see, Nebuchadnezzar, we know his name to this day because of the havoc he wreaked upon his enemies. Well, my Jesus would never do that. Mine would, because I've read this whole book. And when he returns, there's only 2 teams. There's Team Yeshua and Team Bird Food, because you're a corpse. Revelation 19, read it. And so this is similar imagery that we're seeing here. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, a king of kings with horses and chariots and horsemen, and even an assembly and many people. Yeah, as is Yeshua when he returns. With sword he shall kill your daughters in the field. Matthew 24. And 2 of you shall be in the field, and 1 shall be taken, and 2 shall be on the rooftop, and 1 shall be taken. Gives kind of a different connotation to that Matthew 24 thing that's going on. The beginning of the birth pangs. And with sword he shall kill your daughters in the field, and he shall heap up a siege mound against you, and shall build a wall against you, and shall raise a large shield against you, and set the blow of his battering rams against your walls, and break down your towers with his weapons. From his many horses their dust shall cover you. From the noise of the horsemen and vehicles and chariots your walls shall shake as he enters your gates, as men enter a city that is breached. With hooves of his horses he tramples all your streets. He kills your people by the sword, and columns of your strength shall fall to the ground. And they shall plunder your riches, and they shall loot your merchandise, and they shall break down your walls and destroy your pleasant houses. And they shall put your stones and your timber and your dust in the midst of the water. And I shall cause the sound of your songs to cease, and let the sound of your lyres be heard no more. And I shall make you like a shining rock, and let you be a place for spreading nets, never to be rebuilt, for I, Yahweh, have spoken, declares the Master Yahweh. Thus said the Master Yahweh to Sor, would the coastlands not shake at the sound of your fall, when the wounded cry, when the killing occurs in your midst? And all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones, and they shall lay aside their robes, and take off their embroidered garments, and put on trembling, and sit on the ground. And they shall tremble continuously, and they shall be astonished at you. And they shall take up a lamentation for you, and say to you, how you have perished, O one inhabited by seafaring men, the city well praised, who is strong at sea, she and her inhabitants, who put their fear on all her inhabitants. Now the coastlands tremble on the day of your fall, and the coastlands by the sea shall shudder at your going out. For thus said the Master Yahweh, when I make you a ruined city, like cities no longer inhabited, when I bring the deep upon you and great waters cover you, then I shall bring you down with those who go down into the pit, to the people of old, and I shall make you dwell in the lowest part of the earth, in wastes of old, with those who go to the pit, so that you do not return. But I shall establish splendor in the land of the living. I make you a horror, and let you be no more. And you are sought for, but never found again, declares the Master Yahweh. I don't know, historically it didn't work out so well for the Phoenicians. You might, do a wee bit of research on that. Ezekiel 27 rolls right into, and funny how numbers work. 26 rolls right into 27. The word of Yahweh came again to me, saying, now, son of man, take up a lamentation for Sor, and you shall say to Sor, you who dwell at the entrance to the sea, merchant of the peoples on many coastlands, thus said the Master Yahweh, O Sor, you yourself have said, I am perfect in loveliness. Your borders are in the heart of the seas. Your builders have perfected your loveliness. They have made all your timbers of fir trees from Sinir. They took a cedar from Lebanon to make a mast for you. From the oaks of Bashan they made your oars. They made your deck with ivory from the coasts of Kittim. A fine embroidered linen from Mitzrayim, Egypt, was your sail to serve you as a banner. Egyptian cotton, not just for pillowcases, also for sails for ships. Of blue and purple from the coast of Elisha was your covering. The inhabitants of Sidon and Arvad were your seamen. Your wise men, O Sor, were in you. They were your sailors. The elders of Gaval and its wise men were in you, repairing your seams. All the ships of the sea and their seamen were in you to trade your merchandise. Those from Persia, Lud, Put, were in your army as men of battle. Shield and helmet they hung up within you. They gave splendor to you. The sons of Arvad and your army were on your walls all around, and the Gammadites were in your towers. They hung their shields on your walls all around. They perfected your loveliness. Kind of global superpower-ish. All these people contributed to your greatness. Tarshish was your merchant because of your great wealth. They gave you silver, iron, tin, and lead for your merchandise. Yavon, Tuval, Meshech were your traders. They exchanged slaves and objects of bronze for your merchandise. Those from the house of Togarma exchanged horses and horsemen and mules for your merchandise. The men of Dedan traded with you. Many isles were your markets. They brought you ivory tusks and ebony as payment. Aram was your merchant because of the multitude of your works. They gave you emeralds, purple, and embroidery, and fine linens, and corals, and rubies for your wares. Yehuda, in the land of Israel, were your traders. For your merchandise they exchanged wheat of Menit, and early figs and honey and oil and balm. Let's not just skip over that. We've got all these other people groups in the area trading with Sor, the Phoenicians, and they're trading linen and labor and slaves and consumable items and gold and silver and metals. Yehuda, the tribe of Judah, the house of Judah, and Israel, their contributions: wheat, figs, honey, oil, and balm. Yah's people are an agricultural people. It doesn't mean from time to time that you don't need to beat your plowshare into a sword, because there's evil in the land that needs to be dealt with. But Yah's people are an agricultural people. Pretty cool to me. I could spin off into a 10-minute rabbit hole on faith-based preparedness at this point, but since we're reading the Bible, I'm not going to do that. But agriculture and working the land is the ideal state of man for Yah's chosen people. Damasek was your merchant because of the multitude of your works, because of your great wealth of goods, with wine of Helbon and with white wool. Vedon and Yavan from Uzal paid for your wares. They exchanged wrought iron, cassia, and cane for your merchandise. Dedan traded you in saddlecloths for riding. Arabia and all princes of Kedar were merchants for you. In lambs and rams and goats they were your merchants. The traders of Sheva and Ramah were your traders. They paid for your wares with the choicest spices and all kinds of precious stones and gold. Haran and Cana and Eden, traders of Sheva, Ashur, and Kilmad, traded with you. They traded with you in perfect items, in purple clothes, and embroidered garments, and chests of multicolored clothes, in strong twined cords among your merchandise. The ships of Tarshish were the travelers of your merchandise, and you were filled and richly laden in the heart of the seas. Your seamen brought you into many waters, but the east wind broke you in the heart of the seas. Your wealth and your wares, your merchandise, your mariners, your sailors, your repairers of seams, and your dealers in merchandise, and all your fighting men who are in you, and the entire company which is in your midst shall go down into the heart of the seas on the day of your fall. The coasts shaking at the sound of the cry of your sailors, and all the oarsmen, the mariners, all the sailors of the sea shall come down from their ships. They shall stand on the shore, and they shall raise their voice and cry bitterly over you, and cast dust on their heads, rolling themselves in ashes, and they shall shave themselves bald, shame, because of you, and shall gird themselves with sackcloth. And they shall weep for you with bitterness of heart and bitter wailing. And in their wailing for you they shall take up a lamentation, and they shall lament for you, who is cut off in the midst of the sea like Sor. When your wares went out by sea, you have filled many peoples. With your great wealth and your merchandise, you have made the kings of the earth rich. Kings of the earth rich. It didn't shake out so great for them. In the time you are broken by the seas and the depths of the waters, your merchandise and all your company shall fall in your midst. All the inhabitants of the isles shall be astonished at you, and their kings shall be greatly afraid. Their faces shall be troubled. The merchants among the people shall whistle at you. You shall become a horror and be no more forever. 28. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, say to the prince of Sor, Thus said the Master Yahweh, because your heart is lifted up and you say, I am El, I am God. I sit in the seat of Elohim in the heart of the seas. Sounds almost 2 Thessalonians-ish. I am God. I sit in the seat of Elohim in the heart of the seas. Whereas you are a man and not Elohim, though you set your heart as the heart of Elohim. Look, are you wiser than Daniel? Has no secret been hidden from you? By your wisdom and your understanding you have made riches for yourself, and gathered gold and silver into your treasuries. By your great wisdom and by your trade you have increased your riches, and your heart is lifted up because of your riches. Therefore, thus said the Master Yahweh, because you have set your heart as the heart of Elohim, therefore, see, I am bringing against you strangers, the ruthless ones of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the loveliness of your wisdom, and they shall profane your splendor. There's something to that, too, isn't there? The loveliness of your wisdom. Wisdom is good. Loveliness is good. It's no match for a sword. I think we see that a lot in our American society today. A lot of people that are acting stupid because it's been a while Or maybe never, since they got punched in the mouth. Are you advocating violence? I thought you were a follower of Jesus. Spare the rod, spoil the child. 40 lashes minus 1. It's a biblical thing. Down into the pit they shall bring you, and you shall die the death of the slain in the heart of the seas. Would you still say before him who slays you, I am Elohim? Whereas you are man and not El in the hand of him who kills you. The death of the uncircumcised you shall die by the hand of foreigners. For I have spoken, declares the Master Yahweh. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation for the king of Sor, and you shall say to him, Thus said the Master Yahweh. You were sealing up a pattern, complete in wisdom and perfect in loveliness. You were in Eden, the garden of Elohim. Every precious stone was your covering, the ruby, the topaz, and diamond, beryl, shoham, and jasper, sapphire, turquoise, and emerald, and gold. The workmanship of your settings and mountings were prepared for you on the day you were created. You were the anointed cherub that covered, and I placed you. You were on the set-apart mountain of Elohim. You walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You were perfect in your ways from the day you were created, until unrighteousness was found in you. By the greatness of your trade you became filled with violence within, and you sinned. So I thrust you from the mountain of Elohim, and I destroyed you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Your heart was lifted up because of your loveliness. You corrupted your wisdom for the sake of your splendor. I threw you to the earth. I laid you before kings to look at you. You profaned your set-apart places by your many crookednesses, by the unrighteousness of your trading. Therefore I brought forth fire from your midst that has devoured you, and I turned you to ashes upon the earth before the eyes of all who see you. All who knew you among the peoples were astonished at you. Waste you shall be, and cease to be, forever. That is a brutal line. All who knew you among the peoples were astonished at you. Waste you shall be, and cease to be, forever. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face towards Sidon, and prophesy against her, and you shall say, Thus said the Master Yahweh. See, I am against you, O Sidon, and I shall be esteemed in your midst, and they shall know that I am Yahweh when I execute judgments in her. And I shall be set apart in her, and I shall send pestilence upon her, and blood in her streets, and the slain shall fall in her midst by the sword against her from all sides, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. And there shall no longer be a pricking briar or a paining thorn from the house of Israel, from among all who are around them, who despise them. And they shall know that I am the Master Yahweh. Thus said the Master Yahweh. When I have gathered the house of Israel from the peoples among whom they are scattered, I shall be set apart in them before the eyes of the nations, and they shall dwell in their own land, which I gave to my servant Jacob, Yisrael. And they shall dwell safely, and build houses, and plant vineyards, and dwell safely, when I execute judgments on all those around them who despise them. And they shall know that I am Yahweh, their Elohim. The wheat and the tares, huh? That's what comes to mind there. When I have gathered the house of Israel from the peoples among whom they are scattered, I shall be set apart in them before the eyes of the nations. We'll end there for today. 29 is a new thought. Don't be sore. TSOR, Tyre, Tyrus. Don't be a Phoenician. All this wealth, I have all this stuff, I've accomplished all these worldly things. Yeah, but you pissed Yah off, and now he's going to destroy you. You shall be a waste and cease to be forever. That's metal, bro. Bless you all. Shalom.